Okay, right, I'm back. Ladies and gentlemen, we are currently in the middle of chains. And the last video was ended because it had 5 minutes left on the clock. And I didn't want to record that full 1 hour video. So it'll be uploaded as is, along with this one. It'll be the remainder of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist Link Evolution tutorial. Select the card in the mage, and activate effect. Alright. Destroy this. Look at this card. Cards like this have timing restrictions based on the number of chain links there are. Cards like this have effects that change depending on how many chain links there are. The first card activated is chain link 1, the first card chained to it is chain link 2, the next card is chain link 3, etc. It sure would be nice to duel sometime. Match duels. Hey, this is Informate. Well then, let's begin the lesson. This chapter will explain match duels. A match duel is a set of 3 duels where the first player to win 2 duels wins the match. A single duel is a one-time duel that determines the winner. If a match duel results in one win and 2 draws, the player that has the 1 win is declared the winner. If it results in 1 win, 1 draw, and 1 loss, the match results in a draw. A match duel has several rules. In between duels and a match duel, players can switch cards between their main deck and side deck. A side deck is a 15-card deck made specifically for match duels. After the first duel, you use your side deck to adjust your deck according to your opponent's strategy. You can switch as many cards as you like, but you must have the same amount of cards in your deck. In other words, you must have the same amount of cards you had when you started the first duel. In the first duel, a game of rock, paper, scissors decides who will get the choice of going first or second. In the second and third duels, the loser of the previous duel gets to choose. If the previous duel ended in a draw, a game of rock, paper, scissors is played again to decide which player chooses. You can see how a match duel is progressing by looking here on the screen. Although this was just an explanation, that concludes my lesson on match duels. Well then, till next time, dismissed. Other kinds of special effects. Cards. I know this lesson is tough. Are you keeping up? Practice and remembering is the key. Well then, let's get on with the lesson. This is Informate, by the way. Up until this point, the general effects in the game have been explained. There are actually even more kinds of effects a card can have. This chapter will introduce and explain a few major examples of some of these effects. First, let's look at trap monsters. A trap monster like this card is special summoned into the monster card zone when activated. It is treated as both a trap card and a monster card. Next, we'll look at tokens. A token is a monster card created by another card's effect. A token is a monster created by another card's effect. Tokens are treated as normal monsters. And I don't fucking think so somehow. Ladies and gentlemen, there are 2 types of token monster. There is a token effect monster and a token normal monster. Scapegoat summons token normal monsters. However, there is a card that actually makes your opponent take a token that actually makes your opponent take damage when it is destroyed. It's called the Ojama Trio token. When this token is destroyed, inflict 300 damage to your opponent. And this effect is applied to that token when the Ojama Trio card is used. It's the same with the Scapegoat card. However, it does not apply that effect to the token. The restriction to the token. When a card's effect that creates a token is activated, a token is special summoned to the field. Okay, give it a try. Oh, there we go. Look at that. It's actually an effect monster despite it looking normal. This token cannot be used as a tribute for a tribute summon, but it can be used as synchro material. Tokens are special summoned to the field like this. Tokens are grey coloured. Also, tokens cannot be in face down position. A token cannot be the target of a card's effect that changes a monster to face down to defense position. The cheap tokens used as special summon cannot be tributed for a special summon. For a tribute summon, there are some tokens that can be tributed for a tribute summon. So be sure to check the text of each token card. There are cards that use a coin or a die. If it uses a coin, you choose a heads or tails to flip the coin. The card's effect changes depending on the side it lands on. Let's look at some of them. There are several cards on the field that use a coin or a die. Pick some of them and try. Select the end phase when you're finished. Oh. Well then, till next time, dismissed. Other kinds of special cards 1, other kinds of special cards 2. Hello there, this is Informate. Yum yum. Having me coffee food, i.e. a finger bun, and tea, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be right back. Hello there, this is Informate. This chapter will continue explaining special cards. First, let's look at union monsters. A union monster is a special kind of monster that can equip itself to a specific monster. Once per turn, you can equip and unequip a union monster. When treated as an equipped card, it is placed on the spell and trap side, instead of the monster card zone. If the equipped monster is destroyed by battle, the union monster is destroyed instead. Next, spirit monsters. A spirit monster is a monster card that returns to its owner's hand at the end of the turn it was summoned or flip summoned. Because it returns to its owner's hand, the risk of it being destroyed is lower. Most spirit monsters have powerful effects. Spirit monsters also cannot be special summoned. Now you see how union monsters and spirit monsters are special from other types of effect monsters. Now let's look at spell counters. Certain cards use special kind of counters called spell counters. You can activate effects, on these cards by removing spell counters from it. You cannot put a spell counter on a card that does not use spell counters. Lastly, let's look at level monsters. By meeting certain conditions, cards with the word level in their name can level up to a monster with a higher level. Generally, the higher the level, the more powerful the monster and its effect. When using LV monsters, make sure to understand that each card levels up, and construct a deck that allows you to do so easily. Well then, till next time, dismissed. Synchro summons. Hello there, this is Informate. Well then, let's begin the lesson. This time I'll explain synchro monsters and how to summon them. Synchro summon. Synchro monsters are monster cards with wide frames. You can't add these cards to your main deck. Like fusion monsters, you keep them in an extra deck. To summon a synchro monster, you'll need a tune a monster. Now, as far as how to summon a synchro monster, to summon a synchro monster, you need at least one tuner monster and one or more monsters on the field as synchro material. The combined level of the monsters used as synchro material must be equal to the level of the synchro monster you want to synchro summon. Note that a monster must be face up to use it as synchro material. Hmm. In the main phase, you can send synchro material to the graveyard and special summon a synchro monster from your extra deck. This is called a synchro summon. Unlike fusion or ritual monsters, you can synchro summon without spell cards. However, you always need a tuner to synchro summon. Note that you can't synchro summon without at least one tuner monster and one non-tuner monster. And a non-tuner monster, pardon me. Let's try synchro summoning a synchro monster. You can also use synchro monsters and synchro materials. Try not to synchro summon. Try another synchro summon. If you meet the conditions for a synchro summon, you can play a powerful monster, so learn to use it effectively. When you make your deck, be careful to balance the tuner monsters and other kinds of monsters. Some synchro monsters require specific synchro materials, so read the text on the synchro monster carefully. Some monsters like this one require specific tuner monsters. Well then, until next time, dismissed. I like this one. Oh yeah. Oh. Chocolate. Let me just finish my food here, ladies and gents. Let's learn about a new kind of monster. This time I'll explain Exceed monsters and learn how to summon them. Exceed summon. Exceed monster cards are cards with black frames. You can't add these cards to your main deck. Exceed monsters are kept in your extra deck, like Synchro Fusion monsters. When summoning an Exceeds monster, you need a number of face-up monsters on the field to be used as Exceeds materials. The number of needed Exceeds materials will vary between Exceeds monsters. The levels of monsters chosen to be Exceeds materials must match the rank of the Exceeds monster the player wants to summon. During the main phase, you can Exceed summon by stacking Exceeds materials by placing the Exceeds monster from your extra deck on top of them. Let's try Exceed summoning an Exceeds monster. That card is Giga Brilliant, ladies and gentlemen. It's Giga Brilliant. It's a very good card. Pun intended, by the way. Exceeds monsters cannot be used as Exceeds materials. Bullshit. Yes, they can. Looking at you, Ptolemy M7 and Stellar Night Dragon, I think it is. So, hold on. Sorry, no. Stellar Knight can Stellar Diamond. And C Exceeds or Chaos Exceeds monsters. Exceeds monsters have powerful effects, so learn how to use how to Exceed some of them effectively. Speaking of their effects, Exceeds monsters have special effects that are activated by detaching the materials. The Succeeds monster, number C20 Gigabrillion, allows the player to boost all of their face-up monsters by 300 attack. Let's try using this effect, the Succeeds monster's effect. All of your face-up monsters were boosted by 300 attack. As you can see, the effects of the Seeds monsters can be very useful in duels. Well then, till next time, dismissed. Hello there, this is Informate. This lesson will teach you about pendulum monsters. These cards can be used as either monster cards or spell cards. They can be placed as a spell card in the new pendulum zones on the field. Hold up! I think I missed. I missed one. There are 2 pendulum zones on each side of the field. This is where you place pendulum monsters from your hand as spell cards during the main phase 1 or 2. Let's try it. First, place a pendulum monster face up in an empty pendulum zone. If one pendulum zone is already occupied, you can still place a pendulum monster in the other pendulum zone. Since they act like spell cards, you can place more than one. You can place more than one in a turn. Once both of your pendulum zones have pendulum monsters in them, you can perform a special pendulum summon. But first, let's look at the pendulum monster cards as they have a lot of information on them. Since they do so much, they have 2 different text boxes on them. The one that becomes active depends on how the card is placed. If you activate your pendulum monster as a spell card in the pendulum zone, it stays on the field and you use its pendulum effect written in the top box. You can also summon or set a pendulum monster as a monster by placing it in a monster zone. When summoned as a monster, its monster effect, if any, will become active. Be sure of how you place your pendulum monster. Once it has been summoned or set as a monster, as a spell, or placed as a spell in the pendulum zone, it cannot be changed to the other type while it is on the field. If a pendulum monster in play is sent to the graveyard, place it in a face-up top of the extra deck instead. Unless the summoner has been negated. It's true if the pendulum monster was placed as a spell or a monster card. Well, now we'll show you how the pendulum summon works. First, you'll need a pendulum monster in each of the pendulum zones. You can pendulum summon once per turn in your main phase. There are some cards that allow you to pendulum summon twice per turn. Check the pendulum scales located at the sides of the pendulum monsters. Usually both pendulum scales are the same. In one pendulum summon, you can summon as many monsters as you want. They can come from your hand, or from face-up pendulum monsters in your extra deck. The level of the monster you summon has to be in between the pendulum scales you have in the pendulum zones. The pendulum scales are 3 and 7. This means you can pendulum summon any number of monsters between the levels of 4 and 6. Okay, time for you to try it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh. You can only pendulum summon once per turn, but can summon as many monsters as you want at that time. Let's review. Pendulum monsters are monster cards while they are in the hand, deck, monster zone, graveyard, and extra deck. When a pendulum monster is played in a pendulum zone, it becomes a spell and activates its pendulum effect. Pendulum monsters sent to the graveyard are placed face up in the extra deck. They can be pendulum summoned like monsters in your hand. Pendulum monsters that have their summons negated go to the graveyard. Pendulum monsters do not go to the extra deck when sent from the hand or deck when using pendulum monsters as exceeds material. Pendulum summons make it easier to exceeds, synchro, and fusion summon, especially if you pendulum summon more pendulum monsters. Using a pendulum monster as a synchro material sends it to the extra deck, so you can pendulum summon it again. Pendulum monsters used as fusion materials or fusion summons will also get sent to the extra deck. You can also just attack with all of your pendulum summon monsters for maximum damage. Well then, till next time, dismissed. Finally, we get to the big one, link summons. There used to only be 18 duels or tutorials in the original game. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is different. Hello again, this is Informate. This time I'll explain link monsters and link summoning. Link monsters are kept in your extra deck and can't be added to the main deck. Link monsters have dark blue frames with red arrows. Link monsters do not have a defense, but they have a link rating on the bottom right of the card. The link rating represents the number of link materials that you must send to the graveyard from the field in order to summon it. It is also equal to the number of red of link arrows. Hell. Anyway, in general, each monster can be used as one link material. However, when a link monster is used as a link material for other link monsters, it can be sent to the graveyard as one link material or a number of link materials equal to its link rating. It is good to note that only certain kinds of monsters can be used as material to link summon a link monster. This link monster requires 2 water attribute monsters. However, ladies and gentlemen, if you are link summoning any link monster that is of link 3 or higher, you can only use a link monster as 2 materials maximum for that summon. I know this for a fact. Let's try link summon. In your extra deck, select special summon. And send to the graveyard. Ah, crap. Hang on. Let's try that again. I made a bit of a mistake. Also, hang on. Damn. Not interested, buddy. Here we go. Just uploading. Anyway, let's quickly get these tags in there, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh. These two videos will only have a single okay. We'll only have 4 tags. Sorry, 6 tags in total. I haven't even started a single Yu-Gi-Oh series yet. We're going to start from the top, the oldest Yu-Gi-Oh series there is, and go all the way to the bottom, the newest, the V-Ranks. Oh, again, this is Informate. This time I'll explain link monsters and links on them. We'll just fast forward it. Okay. In your extra deck, select Special Summon. This link monster requires 2 link materials to summon. Select the monster you would like to use as a link material. Select the extra monster zone to special summon the link monster. If there are no link monsters on the field, link monsters then face up pendulum monsters summoned to the from the extra deck could only be summoned to one of the center extra monster zones. When a link monster with a link monster in play, you can now summon any extra deck monster to any main monster zone that link monster's link arrows point to. Let's try. In your extra deck, select Special Summon. Select the monsters you would like to use to link summon. It's Radiant. Select the main monster zone to link monster is pointing to. Link materials can be used as a number of link materials equal to their link rating. The link 2 monsters in play can be used as link 2 materials. As 2 link materials each. In your extra deck, select Special Summon. Select the monsters you would like to use as link materials. Select the extra monster zone to summon the link monster. Be sure to think ahead when placing your monsters. Well then, until next time, dismissed. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the tutorials. Just like in the previous video, I ended that one abruptly, but go check out that video's description. The obligatory sponsorship applies. This video and channel is sponsored by Dubby. If you guys want to check out what they have to offer, you can check the description below and in the description of the previous video. And with that being said, it would be massively helpful if you guys check out any of the referrals in the description below of both of these videos as well. Thank you very much for watching. I've been the Royal Australian. Peace out.